Hi everyone, it's Gary Sibbs here, and I'm along with Mackay, the now known jockey basher. Come here to do a bit of previewing for the upcoming Dublin Racing Festival. Some absolutely fantastic racing coming up this weekend. Hey Mark, how's it going? Have we got any particular
Yeah,
jockeys we're going to have a dabble at this weekend?
yeah, I'm going to have a double at one in the first
Yeah,
race at Leopardstown today. So,
good stuff, good
yeah,
stuff. Everything
he's
all
not
right
my
with you, mate?
favourite. Yeah, I'm doing fine, Gary, and yourself?
Good stuff. Yeah, not too bad at all, mate. Not too bad, thank you. Really, really looking forward to this weekend, mate. It's as it is with a lot of people, I bet it's the weekend where I think we're going to get a hell of a lot of clues coming towards the festival. I've had a couple of horses I've been toying with putting up on me anti-post portfolio this last week or so, but I've held off and resisted it and thought I'll wait and see how they get on this weekend and risk losing a few points, I think, mate. But certainly going to be some interesting races coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some really good races this weekend.
Yeah,
Not so much
yeah.
bets as like just what you're going to learn, really.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, well, this first video is going to be for the first day, which is tomorrow, Saturday, and we will get dug straight into the thick of things with the first race on the card. What a race to start off with. It's the 105 Grade 1, 2 mile 6, 50k for the stable staff, novices hurdle. Mark, you can fire away with this one, mate. Very hot race. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it is a really good race. I mean, there's 7 horses in here. It's going to be running in the Bartlett or the Ballymore, and it is really tough to call. I think Mouse Morris is on drugs, putting Gentleman's Game in here in a Grade 1 straight away, but I'd love him to run a good race. I've put him up for the Bartlett, but this is seriously going into the deep end of the swimming pool without even being able to swim. I can't see him winning this first time in the Grade 1. You know, just gone from a 2 mile Cork maiden to straight to this. Pretty harsh. The favourite's been well back, Gallard Dumanil. I put him up for the Ballymore in that mid-season videos we did. I think it's really tough. I wouldn't want to touch this. I hope Gentleman's Game and Fakira both are running on, and they're both running in the Bartlett after this. But I wouldn't want to call this one. This is a brutal race. If it had Bob Bollinger, it might as well just be at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
But I couldn't call this one. I really couldn't. I just hope Gentleman's Game runs well. What about you?
Yeah, well, like yourself, found it a very, very hot race. Just looking down through the prices, I know Holy Mackay pulled up the last day, but like with a fall or anything, I can always forgive a horse once. But I thought the price difference between him and Gillard de Menil was too big, considering he's already beat him. So the difference in price there, I know it's obviously based on the fact that Holy Mackay pulled up, but on a match bet there, I'd probably rather have a go at Holy Mackay coming back to fruition and overcoming that deficit. Like I say, he's 11-1, and I think Gillard de Menil is about 7-2. But my bet isn't actually, as I went down things, there was 3 that stood out to me. One was Ashdale Bob at 10-1, ran a belter at Navan last time. Really good race that. The more I watch it back, I was really impressed with how he won that. Sorry, not the last time. The last time was his fall, which again, you can forgive a horse a fall or a pull up. It just looked to be a bit of a mistake, and I think he's a horse of high interest here. Then we have Fakira, which is another one that I really like. 11-1, a good sound price again. I wouldn't put anybody off backing that one each way. Was beaten by Ashdale Bob at Navan, but looked like one that needed further that the day. He was the first one off the bridle and stayed on really well to finish second, I think. So yeah, I think he was about 5th coming over the last, but stayed on really well, and I think this extra distance will suit him well, so I wouldn't put anyone putting anyone off backing him each way with that. He's got a £3 better deficit here as well. And the one that I've been keen on nearly putting up for Cheltenham, and not 100% sure on the race yet, is Cape Gentleman. Now he's only ran once, which is why I've held off. Going to see how he gets on here. I think he's about 12-1 for this race. I was super impressed with how he ran on his debut. He's for Emmett Mullins. He made one little mistake down the back where he pecked on landing, but other than that, his jumping was absolutely brilliant. Time was quick. He was 3 or 4 seconds quicker than the handicap on the card, and to be honest, his price. The reason I looked at the other two, because I looked at him first when I saw him running. The reason I looked at the other two was his price. I thought he'd be about the same as them. I thought he'd be around the 10 or 11 to 1 mark, and he's about 7 to 1. So he's a little bit shorter than I wanted, based on the fact that he's run once. I thought he might have been a little bit higher up, but even at 7 to 1, I might have to have a dabble on him each way, I would think, because I think he could be something really, really good. And if he does come out, I'll probably end and win, or even be right in the mix. He could be something that I end up putting up for the festival, because he's one I've had a keen eye on. So that's where I am with that one, mate, and we'll crack straight on to our first chase of the festival, which is it's a small field, but a hot little field, I suppose. We've got it's at 1:35. It's the Grade 1 2 mile 1 Dublin chase, and we've got obviously the leading contender for the champion chase in Shakan Passoir here as a hot favourite. As I said, not the biggest field. We've got Min, hot favourite for the Ryanair in here, and then we've got Notebook, Fakir Doudari, Sizing Potsy, Tornado Flyer, and sorry, phone's going. That they're completing the field. One that struck me, and I don't know, I know it's a podcast that you listen to, mate, is the one with Ruby Walsh. Talking up Tornado Flyer for the champion chase, saying that he thinks, and he would obviously know, he thinks that Ruby Walsh might send him to over the 2 mile distance. Can't remember who he said rode him last time. It could have been Robbie Powell or someone got off and said that he would be suited back to the 2 miler. And the fact that Willie Mullins has got a few bullets to fly in probably Mellon and Min at the Ryanair, I think could give him the option to send Tornado Flyer here, because I know he's got the hot favourite, but if anything was to happen to Shakan Passoir, it would give him another bullet to fly and to shoot at this. And he seemed to be talking it up. He seemed to be right in the camp of Tornado being a decent 2 miler. So at the out, I think he's one of the highest priced in this. I would keep an eye on that. But at the outset, for me, Shakan goes and he wins. There's nothing in training at the minute that will beat him, in my opinion, over 2 miles. I think Min, it could easily be a Willie Mullins 1-2 with him and Min. And then I would see Tornado Flyer and Tornado Flyer battling out for third with Notebook. Name escaped me there. Yeah, battling out for third with Notebook. I don't see Notebook having it in him to overturn the deficit with Shakan from the last day. I don't see Min beating Shakan over 2 mile. So yeah, I think it'll just be. It's not really a betting race. If anything, I'll probably do the forecast, or maybe even have a dabble on the Willie Mullins TriCast. But yeah, it won't be a betting race in terms of a single bet for me. Is it just Shakan wins for yourself, or have you got more of a play in it?
No, I'm just interested to see how Tornado Flyer runs as well. But I wouldn't be having a bet in this race. It's just the one to watch for Cheltenham, really. I mean, we could see the Ryanair and the champion chase winner in the same race, and it's a difficult race to have a bet, because you're not gonna make much off the forecast. You're not going to make much off the Sharpland, so I'd just leave it and wait. I
wonder what the crack is with Fakir Doudari. 3 mile down to 2. I know there isn't a 2.5 mile chase for him. He's of interest for me. I think I can't remember his price off the top of my head, but he's a fairly decent price for the Ryanair, and I think that trip of the Ryanair will be his ideal trip. I think this 2 mile will be too short for him, and he obviously didn't seem to get the 3 mile the last day. But I wish there'd have been the 2.5 miler, because at a big price he could be somebody battling for the places in the Ryanair. I'm sure you can get thick end of 40 or 50 to 1 for him for the Ryanair, if I remember rightly. But I don't see him. Getting in the. Sorry.
They backed him last time. They really went for him last time in that 3 mile race. They backed him from about 40s to 12s. But he ran no race. But Joseph O'Brien was out of form, so
Yeah.
he could come back into form. He could be a wild outsider for the Ryanair, really.
Yeah, I think he could. Yeah. Like I say, that race, if you go and watch it back, he made a really bad mistake about, I think it was three out or four out. He nearly come off, nearly came down. Sorry, and that just ended him. He was pulled up after that, but he wasn't actually a million miles away when he made that mistake. He was never going to win, but I just think that 2.5 mile trip, I think, will suit him down to the ground. And he's a horse that I really liked. I really liked him as a novice hurdler. I say I can't be having him in this, but he's one to keep an eye out in the Ryanair as far as I'm concerned. Okay, mate. Moving straight on from one hot favourite to the next, we go on to the Grade 1 Arkle Novices Chase at 2:10. Obviously, a big, interesting race for myself with my Arkle selection in here. How do you see it going, Mark? Have you got a bigger fancy than the favourite?
Yeah, I think the favourite would probably win, but I'd back Darver Star each way. I think he just got caught up in that stupidness in that other race. I think he'd have won that if he hadn't chased Felix Deschi so early in the race, and he sort of burned himself out and just a sitting duck for France. So the port, I think he'll be held up this time, and I think he'll run a lot better. I see him being in the first three. I'm not saying he'll win, but I think he'll be in the first three. He's about 12-1, so I'd probably maybe look at him each way, Darver Star, but really it should be about the favourite. If the favourite's going to challenge Shishkin's got to win this quite easily, I think, just to put himself in the reckoning. Maybe come down to about 72 for the Arkle. He wins.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, mate. This is the best field that either him or Shishkin have faced between them, and I think, like I say, there's a lot of people I think out there just thinking Shishkin's going to walk the Arkle at the minute, and I'm hoping that this race he can sort of stamp his authority a little bit, and at the end of the day, if he puts this lot to bed in decent style, then it certainly puts him right in the thick of things. So I'm not just backing the favourite, the one at a slightly bigger price, slightly going down the same sort of form line that you've gone down there. For me, is Franco Depart. I think you can get with one bookie 11-1, the rest about 10-1 for him. He won the race that day against Darver Star, beating him by about 4.5 lengths, and I can't see him being out of the top three. I think he's a horse I really like. He's a big price for the festival as well, and if I was going to bet on the race, because in Ergamine I want to see him win, but I would probably just have an each way play, or maybe even see what the price is for a place only. A bet on Franco Depart might be my bet. Okay, two hot favourites there, and I'm sure there'll be in a lot of people's multiples for the weekend or for the day. We've got going to be some really interesting racing, as is a lot of the races. We move on to the 2:45, the Matheson Handicap Chase, 2 mile one. I don't know about you, mate. I don't have a huge fancy in this, but the horse that I do like, and I've not wrote his price down, I think he's about 10-1. While I bring it up, is Port Stanley. A horse that always strikes my attention because my son's called Stanley, so I have to back him. But not just that, but he's a horse that I have followed because of that, and he's a horse that's very consistent, hardly ever out the frame. He's been placed in his last 8 starts. He was second behind Aramax, who is a lot shorter in the price than him here. But that day he was 2.5 lengths behind him, and he was carrying £4 more. Tomorrow he carries £1 less, so he has the £5 pull to make a deficit of 2.5 lengths, and there's a point difference. Aramax is 7s and Port Stanley's between. You can get 10 or 11-1. I was just telling you off air that I watched or listened to a podcast earlier on where they were saying that Port Stanley has put blinkers on, or had blinkers on at home, and apparently the guys that have been schooling him have said he's a completely different horse with his blinkers on. They reckon it hasn't half worked with him, so it's first time blinkers for him tomorrow. And can't remember her name now, Jessica Harrington's daughter, she put him up as her nap of the weekend, so I would read into that what you will, but at that price, he's going to be my each-way play in this race. Yourself?
Yeah, I had nothing in this, God. Yeah, I had nothing in either handicap at Leopardstown on the Saturday. I have on the Sunday, but not on the Saturday.
Right.
I didn't like the 2 handicaps on the Saturday.
Yeah, no problem. Like I say, we don't have bets in every race, so we will swiftly move on to the main event of Leopardstown Racing on Saturday, which is the Irish Champion Hurdle. Obviously a Grade 1 over 2 mile. And defending champion Honeysuckle goes back to the 2 mile trip, having come out and won a races to date this season. I believe there's info come out where Henry de Bromhead has said somewhere down the line that if she wins tomorrow, she will almost certainly go for the Cheltenham Champion Hurdle. I'll let you start us off with this one, Mark. Where are you? A fairly small field. It's cut up a bit in terms of entries. Do you see Honeysuckle getting beat?
I've been looking to try and get her beat, but all the rest have got negatives, and she's getting £7. And she's really good. She would have won last year's Irish Champion Hurdle by 4 or 5 lengths if she hadn't made that mistake at the last, but she does tend to not jump as slickly as a champion hurdler should, so she's always going to get herself into trouble over 2 miles by doing that. I mean, she gave Benny a chance over jumping the last at Cheltenham as well. Mm-hmm. And her form, people will crab her form, but she just seems to do enough. She's not one of these horses that wins 20 lengths. She's just going to, keep her head in front. I think she might just win this tomorrow. As long as the ground stays soft, I think it'll soften the others up by, because I think Sanroy wants better ground, so does Abacadabra. Sharjah definitely does. So I'll just favour Honeysuckle, but I certainly won't be putting money on her at 6 to 4. It's far too short, but I think she'll win. I think she will get it done. And I'd love to see her run against Epatante, because I think she can go out at Cheltenham and run from the front and really put Epatante under pressure. I agree. Going so quick. Plus she can stay. So I'd love to see her win, because then she will go to the champion, and I think I'd love to see her in the champion hurdle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally see where you come from. I'd love to see her in the champion hurdle. Kind of said that all along. I kind of mentioned this one to you midweek. My bet in the race is actually going to be with the complete outsider of the field here. I will be back in each way, even though it's only 2 places. But other than Honeysuckle, and it might not beat Honeysuckle, but Petit Mouchoir for me at 16s, 18s in places. I think the ground will be too heavy for Sharjah. I don't think we'll see the Sharjah that we saw the last day. St. Roy and Abracadabra, they're not horses I like at all. And Saldier is a horse that I've never really been that interested in. So by process of elimination, I got it down to the favourite and the outsider, which is the complete opposite end of the scales. Now, Petit Mouchoir has obviously been with Willie Mullins and been with Henry de Bromhead, and has now been a purchase for Gordon Elliott by the owners, the Zanay owners. And I really, really liked his last race. It was his seasonal debut. He was third that day behind Sharjah and Aspire Tower. They were all race fit. He wasn't. He was first off the bridle. He stayed on really well and got that third spot. Gordon Elliott might just be getting a tune out of him, and I'm willing to have a dabble at the outside price of 16 to 1. Like I say, I know it's only 2 places, but it will be each way. He was 20 to 1 when I looked the other day. I think it was yesterday. So that might be just down to maybe a couple dropping out. But I was going to say there'd been a bit of money for him. I think he could easily get second here. The issue in this race is going to be the pace. He's probably going to have to be the one that they'll revert to going back out front with. He was held up a bit the last time. Now, if he does get to do that, he won't want to go all guns blazing, because he'll just set it up for Honeysuckle's stamina. I think if they do get him out in front, because I don't see any of the others going out in front, if they do get him out in front, they'll probably run it at a very slow pace and hope that they can do Honeysuckle with a turn of foot. But it'll be an interesting race if they do that, because like I say, Honeysuckle could probably do with an Aspire Tower in there who's going to get out there and make it a proper test. But there's not a lot of pace in here, and that's the only thing that could possibly do Honeysuckle in. And like I say, at the big price of 16 to 1, I know you more or less laughed at me the other day, but
No,
that's where my bet will be.
I mean, like, I think any of them could win if they get the right run of the race, but I think she's just the most likely to win because she's got £7 allowance over the rest of them. I think that could be crucial, really.
Yeah,
as long as she jumps okay, though.
Yeah, she does have to, because like you say, she did nearly make a blunder of it at the last in this race last year. She nearly threw it away, but it was her stamina and her ability to get up that got her back in front. Okay, again, small field, but should be an interesting race. See how it plays out. And we move on to another race that I think you've just said you don't really have much of a fancy in the 350, the 2 mile handicap hurdle. I'll give you my. There was two that took my fancy a little bit. Champagne Gold. I won't go into as to why, because in the end I didn't back that. I'm going to go for Build Me Up Buttercup. The form line with Build Me Up Buttercup beat Ellie May in a novice race. Ellie May's gone on to do good things. So that form line stacks up quite well. It was 6th the last day, but that was when up to 2 mile 4. He's back down to the ideal trip of 2 mile today or tomorrow, where he's won 3 of the last 4. He's currently 14-1, so each way Build Me Up Buttercup would be my bet in the race, especially with Mr. Townend on board. So that is our 350 handicap, and we move on to the final race of the Saturday, which is the bumper, and a very, very hot race here. Got both of our festival picks are in here in Your Kilcrut and my Let's Be Clear About It. I see Sergei Hard as is a non-runner. I haven't really seen too much in that, Mark. Is he injured? Is that the rumour? Is he meant to be injured, or is it just they didn't fancy running him?
I don't know what to make of this race. This is like the champion bumper without Sir Gerhard, really, isn't it?
Yeah. On the Sergei Hard, though, have you heard anything? Because I just saw he'd been not in the final declarations.
I thought he had heat in his leg earlier in the week.
Is that what it was?
That he had heat in his leg. Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, really and truly, with these races, if I was an Irish trainer, I'd be putting my horse into this race because it's 5 weeks to Cheltenham, and there's still, everyone thinks they're going to be able to come over, but it's not guaranteed. If I had a good horse, I'd be taking it to Dublin Racing Festival because there's better prize money here anyway, and I think that's why a lot of these are in here. I think a few of them might have really gone to Cheltenham straight off if it wasn't, the huge prize money that's in this race. This is a good race.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
I was toying with doing Noble Yates until he saw he was only 6-1. I thought he'd be about 10 or 12. I thought that was a bit short.
Yeah.
I'm praying Kilcrut wins, but I'm not backing him at 7-4, that's for sure. I'm just going to have to hope that he wins and he comes down for Cheltenham, because my book's in poor shape for Cheltenham, so I hope he wins. You can never tell, you never get any info out of the mile in charge as to how their horses are going. Not Ramili's looked a really good horse when he won at Leopardstown earlier in the season. But they're all really good horses in here. The two Elliott horses are Chemical Energy, and I can't remember the other one, but they're both good horses as well. I think this is just a really informative race. I wouldn't be putting money on it because, I can't back my one at 7-4. It's too short. But your one's a decent price if you still fancy it.
Yeah, that's the one I'll be backing. I'll be sticking with him, and I hope if he does win this, it might convince him to get to the festival, because I still haven't heard anything different than the early season. We will probably be missing the festival with him, so it might change their minds to send him there. I thought he ran a really good racing behind Sir Gerhard the last time. I think it wasn't a race to be disgraced on. Chemical Energy, like you've just said there. I think Jamie Coddards was absolutely loving this horse. He's talked it up massively, so we'll see. We'll see what that has to offer. But it's a really hot, deep race. So yeah, it's going to be a cracker, that's for sure. But yeah, my bet at 15-2. I'll take it each way. My bet will be Let's Be Clear About It for Gavin Cromwell. Okay, just On other races on Saturday, Mark, have you got any other mentions elsewhere? There's a lot of racing going on elsewhere. Any other fancies?
Yeah, got 2 races to talk about. I do fancy one in the 205 at Musselburgh. I think Christopher Wood's quite a good bet at 4-1 in that race. Could even do him each way and just lose a little bit if he didn't win, because I can't see him being out the first 3. Paul Nicholls got a good record up at Musselburgh, especially at this meeting. He took one up there last year, and I think it was Miranda, and I thought Brian Cross gave it a poor ride up, so he should have won. I think he targets this race. I think he targets certain races with certain horses. Christopher Wood was second last time out. The Todd France, who's Skelton County Hurdle horse. Got the Flamer taking £7 off. I fancy that. I backed that at 4-1. And the other thing was, what is Nicky doing with the company? Soft and race at Todd. I don't know, maybe it's off. But he's going straight into grade 1 on really soft ground over 2 miles 4 after one race against one rider. Just not what Nicky does. I don't know what's going on, really. I mean, he wouldn't run Altier there this season, and now he's putting once race chaser into grade 1 on really soft ground there. It's just not what Nicky does. I can't work it out at all.
Yeah, you're right. So is that the 2 anymore, mate, or is that?
No, Christopher Wood's my strongest fancy on Saturday, but no, that's me.
Yeah. Okay. Few others to watch out for on Saturday for myself were we've obviously got the Cleve Hurdle, where my pick of Main Facts running. Spoke about that on the last show that we did. I need him to bounce back. Like I say, I had written him off, but when I heard the stable come out and say, "Listen, that was." He never ran his race, basically, willing to write it off and hope it was maybe the track he didn't like or something. Couldn't really figure out anything particular that was wrong. But I'm hoping he comes back and runs a good race this weekend, one I'll certainly be watching closely. The race you've just mentioned there, where you've got Damned Company, I spoke to you midweek when I couldn't figure out why this Messiah de Zobo is not entered anywhere at Cheltenham. I don't know why that is. Been back and watched his races back, and I think this is a cracking horse. And he's 4-1 at the minute, I think, best price, but 5-1 I took him. Is there eight in it for it? I know we won't get 8 in it, but I might have a little dabble on him in that race. Again, I can't understand why he's not entered at Cheltenham. Others, we've obviously got the Cotswold Chase, which we've covered. Be interesting to see how Bristol de May gets on there. I think he's still too big a price for the Gold Cup. And we've got the Edinburgh National, where Phil Kirby's got Little Bruce running. Always seems to run his race at this time of year and in these type of races. He'll be a horse that I'll be having a bit of a play on in that race as well. Hoping he can do some damage there. That's 3:45 at Musselburgh, that one. Okay, we will be knocking off that our Saturday picks, our Saturday selections for the Dublin Racing Festival and a couple of other races. We will be back very shortly with Sunday's races. We will catch you soon. Cheers.